Okay, so to set up your provider groups, well, first of all, provider groups are the ability for your providers to actually group those volunteers that are linked to them, put them in specific groups. That way they can either communicate directly to a particular group of volunteers, or they can also create opportunities but limit the opportunity to specific groups of volunteers. So this is really useful for things like sports leaders. We've got a couple of our clients now who want it set up for all of the schools within their region. So by doing that, the schools can create the provider profile page, but they can also set up groups. For example, sports leaders 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then group the volunteers into each of those groups, and kind of manage them and create opportunities and say this opportunity is only good for sports leaders level 2, etc. But you might use it for something completely different. But I'm just giving you one example of how it's being used at the moment. So to set this up, if you go to Manage Volunteers, go down to Your Groups. I've got a list of groups that I've already set up here. Now what you can do is send, if for example I was a school here, so I've gone to my groups, I've added some groups in here, so I'm going to go sports leaders level 6, and then there's level 6 in there. Add my group in. Down the bottom here, you're going to see, sports leaders level 6. Okay. Now, if I direct my students, so imagine I've created my profile page. I'm a school now. I've registered on your system as a provider. I've created my profile page, put up the images, put in the text. I've now created my groups, so sports leaders 1 through to 6. I'm now going to go to or direct my students. They're going to be sat in front of the class, I'd imagine. Direct the students through to this web address here. Which brings up this page. Now, like I say, it's customized with the images, etc., and the text of the normal profile page. But instead of showing a list of all the latest opportunities, it shows a list of all the groups which that provider's created. Then they would ask the students to select their group that they're actually on. So I'm going to say this particular student would be register and join Sports Leaders Level 2. And they would be asked to register in exactly the same normal way. As before, when we talked about the provider profile page, anyone who registers through this page, any volunteers who register via this path, are registering in exactly the same way as any other normal volunteer. Just that the only difference is, just put in, they are going to be put into the specific groups. So I'm just going to quickly put in some details here. And postcode. Postcode has to be correct because it does a postcode check. Put in some phone numbers. Here we go, emergency contacts, and okay, we can leave all that stuff. Click on the terms and conditions and register. Okay, so I've registered now, pretending I'm a student. Clicking on the level 2, I think I selected. Now if I go back into the provider page, hopefully it's not logged me out, which hasn't. I can go to your volunteers, so show me all my volunteers who have either joined my opportunities or have been linked to me. And the search more options here, you've got volunteer group, and I'm going to select level 2, I think it was, and search. So if I scroll down here, Peter Piper. I can see by this little chain icon that they're linked to me. So what this means is the top two volunteers here are linked, have been linked to me. So I've been linked by the administrator. Administrator can always link a volunteer through to provider, or they registered through my profile page, or one of my, my provider group page that I've just taught you through then. This one on the bottom here, Stephen Hawley, has not. So this person has, the only way they could be classed as one of this provider's volunteers, one of your volunteers, is if they have previously joined one of the opportunities, one of that provider's opportunities. But as you can see, Peter Piper's on there. I can see how many hours have been logged against them, and I can also send them an email, or I obviously can't send them a text, but I can see their phone number. So they can actually, if you decided actually I don't want them in that group, I want them to move groups, you can remove them from the selected group, then clicking on the remove button, or I can add them to a different group if I wanted to. Now, volunteers can be in multiple groups. They don't have to be just in one group exclusively. They can be in multiple groups. So probably at the end of the year, if you're doing sports leaders, you would remove everybody from, or bring up everyone in level 2 and add them to level 3, and then kind of remove them from the level 2. Okay, so I hope that helps. That's the grouping function. You can also, I mean, there is another way to do it. I don't want to confuse you, but there's another way you can do it, where if you send them directly to that web address there, underneath the sports leaders level 6 that we just created. Okay, and that way when they register through this normal option, it doesn't give them an option of choosing which group to join. If you just register using this option here, look at the web address at the top, so the equals sports leaders level 6. So what that does is if they register using clicking on this register to access your opportunities button, it automatically puts them in that sports leaders level 6 group without giving them any option. So you've got two options there. You can either give them the choice by sending them to this web address, so the providers can give the volunteers a choice by sending them to that web address, or they can send them to that web address, which will automatically put them in that group, sports leaders level 6 in this particular example. Okay, I hope that's a little bit clearer for people. One thing I forgot to mention was obviously showing you creating the opportunities and limiting the opportunities to those particular groups. So if you click on create opportunity now as provider, I select the opportunity, say it's a repeating opportunity. Down here the provider has the choice, so I won't actually create it, but I'll show you the option. Restrict to a global volunteer group. So that's groups that are created by the administrator, or restrict to your volunteer group. So that's the one we're interested in, your volunteer group. Now I hover the mouse over there. It gives you obviously you can restrict your opportunity to one of the custom groups, one of your custom groups. So I can select here. I want to limit it to sports leaders level 2. The number in brackets, don't worry about that for now. Sports leaders level 2. Okay, and that would mean that only volunteers who are within that group, that provider group, will be able to join that opportunity. Now, other people might be able to see it, but only they will be able to join it. Okay.